A few days later, Whiskers found himself stepping onto the tarmac at Seattle's SeaTac Airport. This wasn't just any flight for Whiskers. No, siree. This was a journey to the Emerald City, a trip to meet a long-lost relative of his and maybe, just maybe, to find some fun along the way. His humans, Sarah and her boyfriend Tom, had planned an epic 10-day adventure for Whiskers, filled with everything from ferry rides to fish markets and even a visit to the famous Space Needle. Now, Whiskers might have been your average domestic short-haired tabby, but don't let that fool you. He had the spirit of adventure in his heart and the fluffiest tail to wag with excitement. So as their plane touched down in Seattle, Whiskers pressed his face against the airplane window, his amber eyes wide with wonder as he spotted Seattle's skyline for the first time. The chubby tabby's distinctive white whiskers twitched with excitement. He'd never seen buildings so tall or water so blue. His thick, marmalade-colored fur was perfectly groomed for this special trip, each stripe meticulously detailed like nature's own masterpiece. "Welcome to Seattle, little guy," whispered Sarah as they descended. Whiskers' expressive green eyes sparkled with anticipation, his pink nose already twitching at the new scents filtering through the cabin. When the plane doors opened, Whiskers, being the bravest kitty he could be, walked right off the ramp and onto the tarmac. Yes, it was a bit wet and rainy in Seattle, but Whiskers didn't care. In fact, he kinda liked it. He had his humans to snuggle up to, for warmth, and he loved feeling the cool, misty air ruffle his orange fur. After a cozy drive to their hotel, it was time for their first night out exploring Seattle. Their first stop, the one and only Pike Place Market.
Oh, boy. Was this place a sensory explosion for Whiskers?
The sights, the sounds, the smells. It was all so overwhelming in the best possible way. The famous Pike Place Fish Market was where it all began. There he saw them, the fish guys, hurling slippery salmon around like it was a game. And then there were the flowers everywhere, from classic roses to exotic orchids. The colors and textures were like a catnip dream for Whisker. His round body waddled between the bustling stalls, tail held high like a fluffy orange flag. The fish vendors noticed him immediately. A cartoonish-looking cat with the most expressive face they'd ever seen.
"Look at those Whiskers," laughed one vendor, tossing a small piece of salmon that Whiskers caught with surprising agility for his chubby frame.
His eyes closed in bliss as he savored the fresh Pacific Northwest flavor. At the flower stands, Whiskers rolled playfully among the fallen petals, his soft fur collecting a rainbow of colors. Children squealed with delight at the sight of this real-life Pixar character come to life, with his perfectly rounded features and cinematic quality coat that seemed to glow under the Market's warm lighting. After their day of market adventures, it was time for some rest and relaxation. As they drove to their next destination, Whiskers curled up in the back seat, dreaming of fish and flowers and everything wonderful about Seattle. His humans chuckled at the sight of his sleeping beauty, his breathing gently rising and falling as he tucked himself into a ball. Yes, it had been a long day, but for Whiskers, it was just the beginning of their exciting 10-day adventure. The next morning, it was time for a new adventure. And today it was all about going up really high. The Space Needle awaited them.
When they arrived, Whiskers stood mesmerized by its towering height, his mind wondering what secrets lay at the top.
After a quick elevator ride straight to the top, Whiskers found himself at the observation deck.
His whiskers quivered with nervous excitement. From this height, Seattle sprawled before them like an emerald tapestry, dotted with shimmering waterways and lush greenery. The ultra-detailed view of Elliott Bay, Mount Rainier in the distance, and the city below was like something out of a high-definition movie. One of the tourists snapped a picture of Whiskers against the backdrop, and the resulting image looked like a studio-quality render. This impossibly cute, fluffy orange cat perfectly framed against Seattle's iconic skyline. It was the start of what would be many envious looks and compliments during their stay. Everywhere they went, people were stunned by the fluffiness of Whiskers' tail and the details on his fur. They even called him the fluffiest cat they'd ever seen. The next day, it was time for another adventure. This time, Whiskers and his humans boarded the Washington State Ferry to take a trip to the nearby island of Bainbridge. The ferry ride was a blast for Whiskers. The salty breeze ruffled his thick orange coat, creating natural highlights that would make any cinematographer jealous. He spent his time chasing seagull shadows across the deck, his chubby body bouncing with each pounce. When they reached Bainbridge Island, Whiskers explored quaint gardens and tree-lined streets, his movements soft focus and graceful despite his chubbiness. At the Blodel Reserve, a local cat strolled past Whiskers, stopping to admire his fluffy orange magnificence. "Wow, I haven't seen anyone so fluffy in ages," the local cat remarked before padding away, clearly impressed by Whiskers' ultra-detailed appearance. As the days passed, Whiskers continued to charm everyone he met with his playful antics and good looks. He charmed the students when he visited the University of Washington campus,
Took in the vibrant energy of the university district and lapped up the attention as if it were catnip.
The cherry blossoms were in bloom, creating a pink paradise for Whiskers to explore. His orange coat contrasted beautifully with the delicate petals, and every step he took seemed choreographed for maximum cuteness. At the campus bookstore, Whiskers posed for photos with college students, his cartoonish realism making him look like a character who de-stepped out of an animated movie and into real life. One of the highlights of their trip was their stroll along Seattle's waterfront. Here, the bright lights and lively atmosphere kept Whiskers entertained for hours. The soft focus effect of the distant water created a dreamy backdrop for his adventures, highlighting his thick, marmalade-colored fur. He loved nothing more than napping in sunny spots, watching boats bobbing in the harbor. At the Seattle Aquarium, Whiskers pressed his fluffy face against the glass, mesmerized by the colorful fish swimming just beyond his reach. His whiskers twitched with hunting instincts, but his expressive eyes showed more curiosity than predatory intent. Seattle is known for its vibrant neighborhoods, each with its unique charm. Whiskers soaked up the eclectic vibes of Capitol Hill, exploring quirky shops and cozy cafes. The neighborhood-esque artsy vibe was the perfect setting for Whiskers to show off his own artistic orange stripes. People stopped in their tracks to snap pictures of his distinguished markings and fluffy tail, which seemed to fascinate everyone who saw it. Their next stop was Green Lake. For Whiskers, the walking path surrounding the lake was like a personal catwalk. He strutted his stuff, pausing occasionally to groom his thick, marmalade-colored fur. The ducks gathered nearby, seemingly as enchanted by this visiting celebrity as the humans were. His chubby body moved with surprising grace as he chased falling leaves, each movement captured in what seemed like studio-quality slow motion. The soft focus effect of the lake's surface created perfect reflections of Whiskers' orange coat, doubling the visual impact of his natural beauty. As their adventure continued, Whiskers' fame grew. People began to recognize him from photos and videos posted online. Some even started calling him the fluffiest cat in Seattle. He basked in the attention, purring loudly as he posed for pictures, but he never forgot to show his appreciation for the love and care given to him by his humans. On their final day in the Emerald City, Whiskers and his humans headed to the Discovery Park. This vast urban park offered plenty of space for Whiskers to stretch his legs and explore.
The highlight for Whiskers was the beach overlook, where he sat regally while Puget Sound stretched before him,
his expressive face showing contentment and wonder. The cinematic lighting created a golden hour effect that made his already beautiful coat absolutely luminous. At the end of the day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Whiskers knew it was time to say goodbye. As they drove away from Seattle, Whiskers gazed out the window, his whiskers twitching with bittersweet emotion. He had countless memories to cherish. The taste of fresh fish from the Pike's Place, market the stunning views from the Space Needle, the playful antics at the University of Washington, and the enchanting sights and sounds of Discovery Park. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for his humans who had made this adventure possible and for the city of Seattle that had welcomed him with such open arms. And so ended Whiskers' amazing 10-day adventure in the Emerald City. But his story doesn't end here. No, Whiskers continued to live his life with purpose, charm, and an unbridled sense of adventure.
After all, the world was full of places that needed visiting by a cat as special as Whiskers.
Back home, Whiskers became somewhat of a local celebrity. His Seattle adventure photos shared across social media. Children would visit just to meet the movie star cat with the impossibly expressive face and the softest orange fur imaginable. But sometimes, on quiet evenings, Whiskers would sit by the window and gaze toward the west, his whiskers twitching with memory. Seattle had claimed a piece of his fluffy orange heart, and he knew that someday, somehow, he'd return to the Emerald City that had welcomed him with such open arms. Until then, he'd dream of ferry boats and fish markets, of cherry blossoms and coffee shops, of a city where a chubby tabby cat could feel like the star of his own animated adventure. Cinematic, detailed, and absolutely magical.